Thank you very much for joining me in this video. I want to talk today to young people just starting out in life. You've completed your education, you've launched your path of your career, maybe you've got married, maybe you've started a family, and your next dream is to buy a property, buy a piece of real estate. That's exciting. Oh, and by the way, if you happen to not fit this criteria, stay with me and watch this video because you can play a supporting role in that young person's life. But it's exciting to think about buying that first house, and it's an experience you'll never forget. Going on the search, looking for property, narrowing it down to the right one, and all the things that go with it. But one of the things I try and encourage young people is make their first house an investment property. Think about buying a duplex or maybe a triplex. And there's huge advantages to doing that. The rent that comes in will make a huge difference in paying that mortgage and give them some breathing room. But you know, and I should also say that often you can buy a duplex at no more money than you'd pay for a single family home. And so the economic flow is huge. But I'll get resistance sometimes from young people. They say, no, I don't want that. I want the type of house my parents live in. They want to start out where their parents have ended up. The house they grew up in is the kind of house they want. That's their dream home. But they need to remember their parents didn't start there. Chances are the parents may have started in a wartime home and over time increased their equity and bought up to where they are now. And they need to do the same thing. But I suggest that in that first home, buy an investment property. It's easier to qualify because when the banks look at the revenue coming in from the rent, they add that to your income. And if you're getting $1,500 a month for that secondary apartment, that's $18,000 you can add to your income in qualifying for the mortgage. Makes a huge difference. And also in cash flow, makes a huge difference. But they say, no. I'd rather just stay put than have tenants. Well, they need to understand that they are a tenant now. So continue being a tenant, but continue being a tenant in a property you own. Now you're paying rent to yourself instead of to somebody else, and other people are paying rent to you as well. Huge advantage. And it's not forever. At some point in time, what you're going to find, even if you buy a single family home, at some point in time, you're going to find that the property's gone up in value. They always do. Or there may be a lull for a little while, but they always over time go up in value. And at the same time, as you continually make payments on that mortgage, the balance of the mortgage drops. And so the difference between the value of the home and what you owe on the home increases and increases. That's your equity. So you can, in fact, borrow against that equity for the down payment on your next home. You don't have to sell it to release the equity, borrow. Now that'll make it a little bit tighter, I understand, because you've got an existing mortgage and the rents may not quite cover, and you've got a little bit bigger mortgage than you might have otherwise, but you'll get through it. You'll make the sacrifices, you'll get through it, and eventually you'll be so incredibly glad you did. And as I say, even if the home you buy is a single family starter home, don't sell it to buy your next home. Take that home, turn it into an investment property, release the equity, and go into your second property. And you say, well, what about the down payment? Yeah, well, the down payment is always a challenge. And it's no different if you're buying a single family home to live in or if you're buying a duplex or triplex in which you're going to live in one of them. The down payment, and if you're buying a duplex, you can get in, if you're going to live in one of the units, with 5% down, same as a single family home. If you're buying a triplex and you're living in it, you can get by with 10% down. A little bit tighter, but it can be done, and huge difference in the revenue to support that mortgage. And if you have an RRSP, you can borrow against that RRSP for your down payment. You ever play Monopoly? You know the person with the properties always wins. That's a true story. That's a story of life. And by starting out this way and determining that the starter property you buy hopefully is a duplex or triplex, but it's going to be part of your investment portfolio eventually, you'll be miles ahead. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. Talk to you again next week.